Shanny, thanks for being a guest on our program. We're at your restaurant here, Robin's in Cambria, California. One of the most, in my opinion, iconic restaurants on the Central Coast. So welcome to our program.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Thanks for asking me to be on.
Absolutely, it's a pure honor. So you originally were born in Singapore?
Yeah.
And then you found your way to the Central Coast. So
yes. I couldn't have planned that. So one day I asked my grandfather if he'd send me to the States to study, and he said yes. I ended up in Louisiana because I had an uncle teaching forestry at LSU. But after traveling with my sister to California one summer, I thought, oh, why am I in Louisiana? So I wanted to be in California. So I transferred to Cal Poly.
Nice.
Met my husband at the time, and he always wanted to have a restaurant. And one day we were able to do that.
Wow, yeah. That's awesome. So tell us, when you got married, you guys were involved in a health food store, correct?
Yes.
So
yes.
if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your health food background and how that whole thing evolved.
Well, it was always important for us to eat healthy. I even worked at a health food co-op before we moved down here and bought the health food store. So it was really important that when we opened the restaurant that we would just have that healthy background already. And my ex-husband partner at the time really wanted to open a restaurant, and we wanted to have a global cuisine when we did that. But before that, we had the health food store for 4 years, and it was a great stepping stone to opening the restaurant because we were able to develop a really good local following. And we did little dinners in our back room where people signed up for an Indian dinner, and so we built a reputation from the start.
Nice.
Before we opened the restaurant.
And tell us about your interest in global cuisine. I know I've eaten here. I was here from I won't tell you how old I am for my last birthday, but I had my whole family here, had relatives from Beaverton, Oregon, and I absolutely love this restaurant. And so tell us, I've actually ordered a lot off the menu. I love your Rogan Josh.
Right.
And that's one of my favorite Indian lamb curries. But tell us, what inspires the menu for you?
Well, I'm from Singapore originally, and that brought the inspiration for the Southeast Asian part of the menu. Robin has always wanted to cook global foods too, so after he married me, introduced him to Southeast Asian food, and we went to Singapore, he just fell in love, and so we were able to incorporate some of those flavors into our menu. It's really important for us to have a menu that's approachable to as many people. And so it's a challenge sometimes, containing the menu and yet making it global enough to have a variety on the menu. But that's always been important to us.
Are there some things, like as a culinary restaurateur, like you might want to put on the menu, but you go, no, that might be a little too daring or a little too bold a flavor for your patrons? Or how does a menu develop?
Yeah, so I collaborate with my chefs, and we put out a seasonal menu, but it's not very much of the menu actually changes. We have some core dishes and a core set that we stick to, like so many maybe beef protein dishes, so many vegetarian dishes, and so forth, and also try to round it out globally. So when we just really, it kind of like whatever works for us, we do have to be mindful of what our kitchen can put out, because it's a small kitchen. So we can't do anything too elaborate, and that's like something that's a 3-pan pickup maybe would not work on a busy night. So that sort of limits us to what we can actually do on the menu.
Shanny, with the background in the health food store, fresh, local, seasonal ingredients, tell us a little bit about Farm to Table. You were using this concept, long before it became popular. So what does that mean
Yeah.
to you now?
So, like I said before, it's always been important that we eat healthy, and part of eating healthy is really eating the freshest produce that you can. So, supporting local farms and sourcing as many local produce, particularly ingredients in what we do, is really a priority for us. So we make it a point we even have somebody on our payroll who goes to market for us. So we hit 3 farmers markets and several small local farmers throughout the year who bring produce to us. And it feels really good. We just are going to collaborate with City Farm a little bit more this year. And I love to garden, and I love fresh, local, picking your veggies right there and eating them. So I try to bring that to my guests as much as possible. I think that's really important. And the flavor of what you use, it goes into the dish. You're going to have a much more flavorful and beautiful dish, the fresher and more local that you can use.
Being in a more of a microclimate in Cambria here, what are some of the seasonal items that are coming around in the next month or two? It's May right now, and as we approach June, like what are some things that you like to see on the menu?
So right now we just had a menu change, and it is our spring menu change. So we just added broccolini to the menu. Summer squash is starting to come in a little bit. We just have used quite a bit of asparagus lately into the winter and still right now. So one of the things that we are so blessed living here on the Central Coast is that we can get a lot of produce year-round, like our sugar snap peas, our Bloomsdale spinach, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, crowns. They're available year-round.
Nice.
And so we're really, really blessed.
Nice. That's awesome. What's your favorite on the from a seasonal fresh? What's your favorite?
My favorite season is probably summer, because that's when the stone fruit comes in, and then we're able to do the heirloom tomatoes and the peaches and use them in our salads and our pork chop, and we love the summer season.
Let's talk a little bit about the vendors. That I know there's quite a few vendors. You probably purchase fresh local ingredients from.
Some of our local vendors we've been buying for 40 years, or longer, since we actually had the health food store. So we have long-term relationships with them. So it's really great. We have a local guy in town Moosey's Farms, who grows sprouts for us. It's just a pleasure working with small farmers, and we're going to be this year starting to partner with a zero footprint program that is going to support regenerative agriculture and sustainable farming. So we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. When you go back to Cal Poly days, your food tech degree, that's a tough major. I know there's a lot of science behind that. So have you always been interested in food, or did that kind of evolve over time?
It's okay. Coming from Singapore, it's a foodie country. Always been about food from day one.
It's kind of a food mecca place, as you've said, right?
It is. You can eat food from every region in the world in Singapore. It wasn't so when I was growing up, but now, yes. I chose food technology because I really was interested in the sciences, and I was thinking about biology, and I thought, what am I going to do with biology? So I thought, I better find a more practical major, so I went with food technology. And LSU had a food science program, and when I transferred to Cal Poly, it was much more hands-on. So it was like I learned to make cheese and the dairy, and it was really fun.
When you first came to the United States, you arrived in Louisiana. Does that sound right? And then I did some research, and I heard you had your first job was somewhere. Do you recall your first job?
My very first job was at Burger King.
Burger King, home of the Whopper, right?
Home of the Whopper, right? Yeah. So I ate a few of those big Whoppers.
Yeah. So that was in what town was that?
That was in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Okay.
Yeah.
And then were you working for Burger King during college then, or was it when you first got here, before college? Or?
No, it was before college.
Okay.
When I got here. Because when I got here, I went to high school for a year to get acclimated because I was still pretty young.
Okay.
And then I went to transfer to Cal Poly.
I see.
To Louisiana State.
So when you grew up in Singapore, like what language what was your first language?
My first language has always been English. This is not typical for Singapore Chinese families. They typically are raised speaking Chinese, and English is the second language. But my background was a little different because my mother came from Indonesia. My father was from Singapore. They didn't speak the same Chinese dialect, so we had to communicate in English. And since my mother's English was not great, she was raised speaking Indonesian and Dutch, she wanted to learn English. So she put us all in English schools.
Wow.
So we learned English, and it wasn't to our advantage because then we couldn't speak Chinese.
Sure. Well, that's amazing. So when you hit Louisiana from Singapore, then you didn't really have to worry about a big language barrier at that point.
No, more of a cultural barrier.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Singapore. When I left Singapore, I didn't really understand how big the United States was. So the reason I actually came here was because I wanted to follow my best friend here who was getting to apply for a scholarship here. But I wouldn't have been even close to her anyway because I didn't realize how big this country was. So it was a little bit of an adjustment.
So was your family involved in the culinary field at all, or what did your mom and dad, what sort of work did they do?
No, my father was an police inspector with the Singapore Harbour Board Police. My mother was a beautician or esthetician. But, in Singapore, everybody loves to eat. You can get a meal 24/7.
Okay, nice. So, Shanny, my son, Jonah, who you know, he was a server at Novo Restaurant in San Luis Obispo, and also we're familiar with Lunar Red. So can you give us a little background on the other restaurants that you're involved in?
Sure. Well, after Robin and I had split up, he opened a restaurant in Slough, which is Novo. So I helped him with that restaurant. We're really great friends, and I helped him open Novo. I hired a lot of his front of the house team and helped him. So in a sense, I was like the business manager, like at Novo, in his early days. And then when he saw the location, or actually was approached by the landlord at Lunar Red, he decided, yes, he wanted to open another restaurant. And so usually when we open a restaurant, Robin is usually the one who has that vision for the restaurant. And then he goes like, what do you think? And I go, oh, okay, maybe. And so that's how we kind of work to get to working together. So we own Lunar Red together, and he owns Novo.
I see.
And Novo is very similar to Robin's in cuisine and in menu, but still different. They have different dishes and then a few of the same dishes.
I see.
Lunar, we went a slightly different direction. So Lunar is more Latin. On the menu, so that's why you'll see paellas and ceviches and tacos on Lunar's menu.
So tell us a little bit about the history of your restaurant and how it's evolved over time.
When we first opened Robin's, it was on Bridge Street and in a historical building, which seated we had 13 tables. So after 5 years in 1990, we had the opportunity to move to this location, which is also a historical building, and we were able to expand the restaurant. So we have 3 wonderful cozy spaces here. So we have the cozy indoors, which is the original footprint of the house when it was a residence.
Okay.
And then the patio, the atrium was added when it was the Grey Fox. That was the first restaurant that was in this building. And this space that we're sitting in is the garden for the original home. And after COVID, it was just the perfect place to expand our outdoor seating because everybody wanted to sit outside.
Yeah.
So we really have been blessed with the space that we have. And all of the locations, actually, they all have wonderful patios. And we have just a really great outdoor dining space. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the history of this place. I know there's someone who built this in, I think it was 1935.
1930, in the
early 30s?
Yes, early 30s. So the Sousa family lived, it was their residence, and it was designed by Julia Morgan from the Host Castle. So it has that kind of claim to fame about this property, which is always really cool. You know, people love that story. And it was a residence until, I can't say for sure when, but it was in probably in the late, in the 70s that it was converted to a restaurant.
Nice. And then what's your seating capacity like in the inside and outside?
Well, our seating is about 80 inside on the atrium and inside. And then outside here, Len's probably about 60 more here. But see, during the day, we really rarely seat inside because everybody wants to be outside. Sure. And it's sort of like changes that at night, you know. So we don't always use all of our spaces. So it depends on the weather. Yeah.
I know my birthday, we sat underneath over there, and outside seating was great. It was a beautiful October night, and it was absolutely beautiful night.
Right. So it just depends, you know, on the weather, like where we'll be seating most.
Right. So Shanny, let's talk. As a restaurant owner, it's a tough business, and it's very demanding. Right. You got to feed a lot of people, and services, everything, food. Talk about, if you don't mind, what was it like during the COVID time to own a restaurant? I know most of the restaurants where I lived were shut down, or at least did a lot of to-go orders. So how did you guys survive or manage during that period?
It was definitely a tough time. I remember it was March 17th because it was St. Patty's Day that we had to close, and we had a whole event planned, and everybody had to get their corned beef and cabbage to go. So that was our very first day of COVID shutdown. But we had to pivot. We immediately came up with a to-go menu, and I had some key people in the kitchen, like 2 or 3, and then 2 or 3 in the front fielding the to-go orders. And we built a decent business, and we got a lot of community support. I love this community. It's just a wonderful community. They're so supportive. And during COVID, they supported the restaurants as much as they could, you know, and it was just really amazing.
Did you have to actually shut the restaurant down to the public, or how did you guys do mostly to-go orders, or how did you guys structure that?
Well, there was no seating, so everything was a to-go order initially, and then finally, I don't remember exactly when, but finally when they did allow some seating, it could only be outdoors. So this space was perfect because people would take their order to go and sit out here to eat it.
I see.
Yeah.
Nice.
We couldn't serve, but so that was that transition, right? So first of all, we couldn't have any seating at all, and then later we allowed people to sit out here, but they had to still order to go.
And how long did it take before you could actually start serving people indoors, or?
I think it was like 2 years.
A couple years.
Yeah. It was 19 and 20. It was 20 and 21.
Yeah.
And then 22, when we reopened, it went gangbusters. Really, we didn't suffer from COVID, and we were able to get the government assistance. Plus, after we reopened, everybody wanted to go out to eat, you know, and we had a beautiful outdoor space. So we did good. We had a really good year in 2022.
In hindsight, like, did you learn anything that you maybe used, you know, moving forward in the restaurant, like as far as seating or menus, or is there anything to be learned from that period that you could bring forward to today, or was that just kind of like what we used to call a black swan event, like once in a lifetime?
Well, I think one thing that I've learned is that people do not prefer to sit too close to each other even now. So we have kept our tables more spaced out even after COVID.
I see.
So that's definitely a change from COVID days.
Nice. So Shanny, Cambria is a beautiful spot. I came through here first time 1984. My family and I are on vacation, and we stopped in Cambria. I think we were more on the beach side, and we ate at some restaurant over on the beach. I can't remember the name of it, but anyways, what do you love most about Cambria?
I am super blessed to be able to live here in this small community where everything is like 5 minutes away at the most. The community is super supportive, and it's really important that as a business and a local that I support the community too. So we work together, in supporting each other in different fundraising events, and the community responds also, and it's just, everybody here is like family, and it's really special. I've known people here after being in the business for 41 years. I have seen generations grow up here, and even people who come here from like the valley, with their families, and then they've grown up here, they're bringing their kids here, and then their kids are bringing their kids here. That is something priceless. It's so special to be able to witness that.
Tell us a little bit about your children. And I understand they're part of the business now?
Yes, I have 2 boys, Jai and Roberto, and they do both work with me here at Robbins. One of them did used to work at Novo too, but now they're both here. So one is in the front of the house and the other's in the back of the house. So it's a nice little blend there, because they can learn the different aspects of the business, because I won't be here forever. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about staff. That's probably a tough thing to have manage staff. People, they're here one day and then they're gone and that sort of thing. So how difficult it is to manage staff, because you have chefs, right? You got food prep people, kitchen staff, waiters, front, hostess stations and that sort of thing. What's that like to manage all that?
Staff is probably, I have to say, it is our biggest challenge. You feel like you have to be a counselor, an employer, a coach, all at the same time, and it's definitely challenging. We try to hire very carefully, but sometimes it's tough because we don't have a huge pool to hire from. So we do the best we can, that we try to hire people who have a heart for hospitality and who understand the importance of working hard and have an eye for detail. Because the eye for detail is super important to me. You can do things, just normally, but it's just paying attention to the details in a dish and, in how we present things is very important.
Nice. And what's it like to employ chefs? Because, it's tough to find chefs, probably number 1 and number 2. That's a difficult profession. And so is it tough to kind of keep chefs on your staff and keep them motivated and coordinating menu and keeping everybody happy?
Over the years, I've had a few chefs, and most of them have been really wonderful to work with. And we've learned and gleaned from their creativity and their talent. They've also learned from us, and our menu, and they've taken that with them too. It's been challenging, and it's also very hesitant to when it comes to having to hire a chef, because it's like you sometimes do not really know the person you're actually getting until you actually work with them. Yeah. So it could perhaps not work out. But I think overall I've been really fortunate, and I've had some really, really good chefs to work with us. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about some of your, breadwinner dishes. I know the salmon bisque, you're known for that. You like the chow. What are some of the things about these dishes that you can share with our audience?
So the salmon bisque is Robin's contribution to the menu, and ever since we put that on, people have loved it. So we haven't been able to take it off because people just come for the salmon bisque. The chow has been on our menu since day one, and it's my go-to dish. You know, it's full of fresh vegetables, and it's just a very simple dish with pasta stir-fried with garlic, ginger, and soy. But the combination and just the searing of the proteins and mixing it all together is just really flavorful. And so people love that dish as well as I do. Yeah.
Is that inspired from Singapore?
Yeah, it's inspired from my Asian roots, you know, and the curries, the Southeast Asian dishes on the menu are inspired from the Singapore cuisine, you know.
Can you kind of like expand on maybe some of the spices and the special culinary ingredients that come from Singapore?
Yeah, so in our Thai green curry, we use lemongrass and kaffir lime leaves, and those are ingredients that are very prominent in Singapore dishes. Even though that is a Thai dish, those ingredients are used a lot in dishes from Singapore. The lamb curry is a northern lamb curry, and it's a little bit more rich than a southern Indian lamb curry, and it's got yogurt, and this lamb is very succulent, and it's got a myriad of different spices in that dish because we roast and make a garam masala, which has all kinds of very fragrant aromatic spices in this mix, and that goes into the lamb curry.
That's my favorite. It's the Rogan Josh,
yes,
is that right?
Rogan Josh.
Yeah.
And you know what's really makes me feel really happy is when I have a family from India come in and they love the lamb curry, and I go, yes, we got it right.
So you do spring rolls here, right? Is that also from, does that have roots from Singapore?
Yeah, well, yes.
Or more Thailand, Asian, Southeast Asian?
Most of the Asian countries have some sort of spring roll.
Okay.
Maybe made a little bit different, but yes, it is an Asian dish.
And you guys sell a lot of adult beverages here, like wine and that sort of thing. And so can you talk a little bit about your wine selection?
Yeah, so we sell beer and wine. We haven't wanted to get a full liquor license. I just felt it was better to stay away from that. You know, Novo and Luna Red have a full liquor licenses, but Robin's unhappy with just a beer and wine license. And we try to support local wineries. So we have most of our wine list is local selection, but then we do have some further away for like Santa Barbara or Napa Valley, and then a couple of other ones from New Zealand and France. So, but mostly local.
And who does your wine selection? Who's your wine purchaser?
So Shelley White, who has been working with me for over 25 years.
Wow.
Gosh, maybe it's 30 now. Anyway, she's
the go-to person.
She is wonderful. She is my good friend and most long-term employee. She does all of our event coordination and all the beer and wine purchasing and inventory.
Nice. And do you guys cater? Like if somebody wants to hire you guys to cater, is that something you guys do, or are you just more like an on-site dining type establishment?
Well, I would say that we're mostly on-site. We do a little bit of off-site catering, but very little. We try to stay away from it because it's a lot of work and it is a hassle, and we're not always fully equipped to do a large catering job off-site. So we prefer not to.
Okay.
We'll leave that to the wonderful caterers that are out there.
Got it. Great. If I were to ask you, like, what's your most memorable time at this restaurant? Like, what would you say? Like, what would be the most memorable event or occasion over your 41 years?
That's a tough question because I have several, events. My 50th birthday was celebrated here with a lot of friends and, a long-time customers and friends here, and that was pretty special. I think these days what is really special to me now, I feel like maybe it's because I'm getting older and I've seen so many generations come through here and long-time customers. when they come back with their families and they come for a gathering, a party of 8 or 12 or 16, and they come again and again, and it's just really special. I love that I'm creating memory, helping to create memories at the table for families and friends, but mostly families, for special events. Yeah.
Well, you have, in my opinion, you have some of the best food, some of the best venue. You got super nice staff. I'll just brag on Shanny here. On my birthday, she was actually walking around, checking on tables. That's almost unheard of nowadays with owners walking around, checking on their patrons. So, props to you for that, Shanny. That's super impressive.
Well, thank you. I think it's important for me to stay in touch with my guests, and sometimes I don't have as much of an opportunity to be on the floor as before. So when I have the opportunity, I like to go out and just, because that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what I love about being in this business, is the hospitality and making friends with my guests. So if I don't see them, I'm just in the office. It's like, well, it's not as fun.
Can you touch on that? You kind of hit a great point on experience. Like people when they go out to dine, they obviously the food's got to hit the mark, the beverages, the service and all that. But tell us a little bit about creating that experience for the client, because that's super important.
It is, and it really has a lot to do with training. Well, first of all, having a mission statement, and ours is about creating a remarkable hospitality experience to keep our guests returning. And so it's instilled that in my team. And we have coaching sessions, and every meeting that we do have, which is not that frequent, I just tend to stress how important it is to create that experience for the guests. So it's really about attention to detail, making sure your setups are neat at the table, and things are tables cleared, and knowing your menu, and just being able to, all these little details help to create that experience for the guests. And so that's important to us. So
let's talk about the flip side. Restaurant business, inevitably something's going to go wrong, right, in your restaurant. Maybe the food didn't come out hot enough or something happened. How do you deal with, customers who, are challenging? Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, there's usually a reason that when a customer is challenging or is unhappy about something, there's always a reason. Sometimes it's through our fault, and sometimes maybe it's less of our fault. Yeah. But regardless, it's like, whatever it is, let's take care of it, and let's try to make it the best that we can, and fix it, the best way that we can. Because there's no point in pointing fingers or whatever. No, just let's fix it, and let's create a good experience for the guests.
Nice. And Shanny, we talk a lot about experience, creating that ultimate experience for your clients here. And what sort of training do you provide for your folks that work for you?
Well, first of all, when we hire our team, we try to do our best to hire people who have a heart for hospitality and who know how to work hard. So the training component of our business is really important to us. I feel like we can't accomplish giving our guests excellent service without proper training. So we do concentrate on that quite a bit, when someone's hired.
Yeah, that's very challenging, I'm sure, just because it takes a lot of time.
Yep, it does take a lot of time, and everybody learns differently. So we have to be flexible as to tailor the training to how they best learn things.
And sometimes it's tough. You get a customer, they might bark at you a little bit or make some comments, and it's hard not to kind of take it, personally, right?
Yes, it is. But hey, we've all been in their shoes too at some point, right? So we have to be understanding. And our goal is to make the customer happy and fix it the best way we can.
So Shanny, as clients finish the meal, right? They want to order some desserts. Yeah. And do you have anything on the menu that you like to brag about?
Well, our signature dessert is the carrot cake, and probably the sundae too. So we use McConnell's ice cream from Santa Barbara, which we feel is the best ice cream around. So our sundaes are really excellent because we also have a homemade ganache, chocolate ganache made with European imported chocolate, dark chocolate. So it's really great. We do change our menu up a little bit throughout the seasons. So like right now we currently have a strawberry rhubarb crisp, which is just simple but so delicious, and served with a scoop of McConnell's ice cream. It's like perfect.
Vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla, yes, French vanilla ice cream. It's just to die for. Yeah. So yeah, we look forward to bringing in something different. So we tweak the dessert menu seasonally too.
I think I got a little taste of that for my birthday. You guys brought that out for the hot fudge
yes,
or the chocolate with the vanilla.
Yes.
So yeah,
we do that for our little birthday Sundays. Our birthday gift for someone celebrating a birthday is our mini hot fudge sundae, and that ice cream is just amazing. So
yeah, I particularly enjoy that. So I highly endorse that.
Yeah. And for those who are celebrating an anniversary, we have our decadent chocolate torte. So we do 2 pieces, and my barista girls are so good at like making a little calligraphy with the raspberry sauce and put a little love on the plates, and they're just so good at that. I go, wow, that looks really good.
That's awesome. As we kind of wrap this program up, like when you're looking at the future, Shanny, you've been here 41 years. That's like almost unheard of in the restaurant industry, right? Because restaurants, they come and go, right?
Yes.
But you guys have created an iconic restaurant here, and you've been a pioneer and almost legendary person here in the community. But what is the next 5, 10, or what do you foresee happening in this restaurant?
So yes, I am getting up there in years. After 41 years, I realize that I do have to work toward cutting back my hours. I'm a workaholic, and I enjoy this work tremendously. I would miss my guests so much, and so I'm here as long as I can be here, but I realize that I have to wind down in the next few years, so I'm taking some steps to prepare myself to be able to somehow pass the baton.
And is that baton, is that going to get passed to any of your children, or is that going to be somebody else?
I'm not sure yet. I'm figuring it out, but most likely my kids, because they want to keep the restaurant. So we'll see. Hopefully that will work out.
And then I understand that maybe your granddaughter might be working here as well.
I have 2 older granddaughters, 18 and 16, and they both work at Nova right now because they live in San Luis.
I see.
One of them did work here for the summer, but it's a kind of a long drive for them.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of out there, Cambria.
Yeah, I wish that they lived a little closer, because I would love for them to come work with me.
Yeah, nice. Well, great. Well, Shanny, it's been an absolute joy and a pleasure to talk with you here this afternoon, and your beautiful restaurant and your beautiful gardens. And I understand you even are intimately involved in the gardens here, and you choose all the flowers.
I do. I am definitely involved with the garden here. I'm all the time, even my garden at home. So I love gardening. It's my other passion. So it means a lot to me. And I love it when people like come here and they're just like wowed over the garden, and it makes them feel so good. It makes me feel good.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful garden, and it surely makes the meal for sure when you're dining here.
And one thing that's important, I think, is like for my guests to know is, and they feel it, is that it's not just an experience about food, and coming to eat at Robin's is about being nurtured with food, with the ambiance and the service, and so that combination is really important.
So for all our audience who have not ate at Robin's, I highly endorse this restaurant, and I want this to be your first stop when you come to Cambria here. So Shanny, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.